Hello and welcome to the national debate. I'm Madhavdas G and we have an esteemed panel this evening. The question that we are asking is there a specific template of disruption in the parliament? After the opposition disrupted the speech of Prime Minister Modi in the Lok Sabha this week, as well as a similar pattern that was seen in the upper house as well, there are videos now that have come out from the Lok Sabha proceedings, where Rahul Gandhi can be seen asking opposition MPs to storm the well of the House and allegedly egging them on to keep chanting while the Prime Minister spoke. The Prime Minister stood up to speak in the upper house and immediately the opposition began chanting and heckling him. They were chanting, "Samvidhan ka apman nahi chalega" and "Vipaksh LOP ka samman karo." Interestingly, chants were also raised of LOP as well. After the chants and disruptions, the opposition staged a walkout while the Prime Minister spoke. Listen in.
कोई मुझे बताएं ये संविधान की मर्यादाओं को तार-तार करके प्रोटोकॉल में एक परिवार को प्राथमिकता कैसे दी जाती थी, कौन सा संविधान था? और आज संविधान की बातें करते हैं, संविधान लहराते हैं, जय संविधान कहते हैं। अरे आप लोग तो इंडिया इज इंदिरा, इंदिरा इज इंडिया के नारे लगा करके जिए हो। सत्य सुनने की ताकत भी नहीं होती। जिनका सत्य से मुकाबला करना, इसके लिए जिनके हौसले नहीं है, उन्होंने उठाए हुए सवालों के जवाब भी सुनने की हिम्मत नहीं है। नारेबाजी, हो हल्ला और मैदान छोड़ के भाग जाना, यही उनके नसीब में लिखा हुआ है। हम सभी को राजनीति से ऊपर उठ करके वहां की स्थिति को सामान्य बनाने में सहयोग करना चाहिए। ये हम सबका कर्तव्य है। और कांग्रेस के लोग ये न भूले कि मणिपुर में इन्हीं कारणों से 10 बार राष्ट्रपति शासन लगाना पड़ा है। इतने छोटे से राज्य में 10 बार प्रेसिडेंशियल रूल लगाना पड़ा है, राष्ट्रपति शासन लगाना पड़ा है। कुछ तो मुसीबतें होगी और ये हमारे कार्यक्रम में रही हुआ है। कांग्रेस पार्टी से मैं आप वालों से कहता हूं, आपने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके आपके घोटालों के इतने सारे सबूत देश के सामने रखे थे। कांग्रेस ने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की थी, इन्हीं लोगों के खिलाफ की थी। अब ये बताएं कि ये जो उन्होंने सबूत प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके सारी फाइलें बताई थी, क्या वो सबूत सच्चे थे या झूठे थे? दोनों एक दूसरे को खोल करके रख देंगे। ये ऐसे लोग हैं जिनका डबल स्टैंडर्ड है, दोहरा रवैया है। और केरला में उनके शहजादे, उन्हीं के केरल के एक मुख्यमंत्री जो उनके गठबंधन के साथी है, उनको जेल भेजने की अपील करते हैं।
And for more on this, we have a guest joining us. With us is Vivek Saila, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. We have with us Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst. We have with us also Pankaj Vora, senior journalist. Spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Sazia Ilmi, is with us. Also with us is Karan Verma, author, and Satya Prakash Mishra is leader of the JDU. Let me start with you first and foremost, Tehseen. We had a debate on the same show just last week, and the subject was, has Rahul Gandhi come of age? After seeing these visuals, it appears that Rahul Gandhi as LOP wants to take on the government, and that's fine as a leader of opposition. But there are norms of parliamentary conduct which Mr. Gandhi doesn't seem to be willing to adhere to.
Thank you, Madhav, for having me on the show. And the question is, has Mr. Gandhi come of age? The question that should be asked, has the government matured finally after 10 years, or will they continue to be victims? Now, look, I agree with you, and let me start by saying, maybe you should not go in the well, and I agree, you shouldn't. I'm not even going to get into Sushma Swaraj's bite to Times Now, that it is the right of the opposition to disrupt. I'm not even going to get into Arun Jaitley's bite to Times Now, to Navika, where Arun Jaitley said opposition will not allow parliament to function. Let's not get that. Let's forget the past. Let's talk about today. When did this bridge get undividable? We saw beautiful visuals on Times Now when the Prime Minister and the leader of opposition led Om Birla Ji to the chair. When the leader of opposition tried to bring in the resolution for NEET, you can agree, disagree with him, fault him for it, say no, let the president's motion of thanks get over. His mic was switched off. Forget the technicalities that Om Birla Ji indulged in later and saying he doesn't have a button. I'm not getting to that. The fact was the LOP was not allowed to speak, and that's never happened in our parliamentary history before. And that is unacceptable. The minute that happened, now the opposition has a graduate Om Birla Ji.
But is that actually correct? He spoke for close to an hour.
He spoke to an hour we're talking on Monday. We're talking about on Friday when he tried to bring in the resolution. This is before the weekend. When he tried to bring in the NEET resolution, his mic was switched off. There's times now live. The mic was switched off. Now you can say, oh, Om Birla Ji didn't switch off, but the fact was the mic was switched off. That has never happened in our parliamentary history. No mic has ever been switched off before for any LOP. Just one thing. Once that happened, you have an opposition that's hurting with the same Om Birla Ji, who, and I take responsibility for what I said, rather than speaker, continues to act as a karyakarta of the BJP. And I'll tell you why. Just one line. Last time he suspended 149 MPs. They've been hurting with it. Now you switch off Rahul Gandhi's mic.
But that's the last Lok Sabha, you have to move on. But let me bring in, without bringing in several issues, he's brought in several issues, including what Mr. Jaitley and Sushma Swaraj says, opposition has every right to dissent, and also saying the primary objection is that we are not being allowed to speak, our voice is not being heard in the parliament. Please respond to that, Sazia.
Madhav, this is what happens when you try to be too clever by half. And I think they've taken Gibbles very seriously because they keep telling a lie many times so that it appears like truth later on. But I'm sure it will not stand. What happened in the parliament was an abomination. And I think Rahul Gandhi not just lowered the dignity of the House, of the Speaker, but of his own position of LOP. And for the first time, I felt sorry for the opposition that this is the leader they'll be dealing with. The way he spoke, I think it just was not just juvenile, lacked gravitas, was woefully short on fact, on which he was corrected several times over by no less than Shivraj Singh Ji, Rajnath Ji, and many others. So he lied blatantly, changed the gear, and went on. That was a historic chance for Rahul Gandhi to show some substance, to come of age, which is the question being asked. But Rahul squandered it away. And he realizes that it's not for him to make statesman-like speeches, but to be like a flop stand-up comic and say these inane things, lousy things, thinking it'll work, and see the bluster and the bluff of it all, that he actually exhorted the other parliamentarians to instigate, to misbehave. And there are these two visuals. And I think what it did is showed what Rahul stands for. And then these parliamentary proceedings also shows what Prime Minister stands for. And the world of difference between the two. The zenith and the nadir. But most of all, I think Rahul Gandhi lowered his own dignity, brought disrepute to himself. When you showed disrepute to the House, when you mock the Speaker, and when you lie. Mics have never been switched off. Mics are not switched off. They've never been switched off. Everybody has said that, and we must believe this. So don't lie. Stop lying.
We'll get into the fact check part of it. One second. We'll get into the fact check part of it, but I want to ask a bigger question to the Samajwadi Party. Samajwadi Party spokesperson Vivek Sehla. Simple question is this, that if you begin Parliament session on this note, and this is the first session, this is just where members are being sworn in, it's more of a formality than a regular session, you know, what is the sign that you're sending out for the next 5 years? That opposition is going to continuously disrupt the next 5 years? Because end of the day, if you're asking questions of the government, and opposition has every right to ask those questions, at least you must hear what the other side has to say.
Yes, definitely. We have to hear what the other side has to say. Of course, why not? But the other side has to say about the country. They don't have to speak about, you know, Sholay ki Mausi. Definitely, we have to go and we have to you know, that is something very hilarious.
But then Vivek Sehla, the problem is this. Then you'll say that we are not allowed to say what we want. The Prime Minister can say what he wants. What is the issue then? If you have to ask a question, you have to listen to the other side. Because Sonia Gandhi in an editorial says there has to be dialogue in Parliament. But that's not what is being followed here. Is the question that BJP is raising.
No, the Prime Minister is definitely leading the country, though he is not in the full majority, but he is leading the country. And he has a very big responsibility because at this time the country is facing a lot of problems. You know, after today is the 25th day since he has been sworn in, and we have seen a lot of things. We have seen train accidents, we have seen terrorist attacks, we have seen bridges falling, we have seen the roofs of the airports falling, we have seen the NEET leaks. Obviously, these all connections are, these all you know, topics are with the common man. And since if you are responsible, you have to talk about the people, and that is what we are here for. If the government is not adhering to the people or not going to the facts, of what is happening in the country. They are just trying to divulge the things. Obviously, the opposition has to question him. The opposition has to compel the government, because we are a strong opposition. The people of this esteemed country has given us a lot of power this time, and we are going to take the government head to head. Why not?
Okay, people have given us the power, Karan Verma, and it's our duty to raise issues of train accidents, of terror strikes, of NEET, etc., Agniveer, that are people's issues, and that's what we are doing as an opposition. Are they fulfilling their responsibility?
Madhav, with great power comes great responsibility. Unfortunately, the opposition this time, and I say this with responsibility, our great country has an opposition that is bereft of any intellectual depth, that is bereft of any ethics, to be very honest. Tehseen just said that, it's never happened that the mics have been switched off. Well, it has never happened that an adjournment motion has been passed during a thanks to the president's address. It has never happened, and it is against parliamentary rules and conventions. So when you're doing something that is flouting the norms, that is flouting the rules, what do you expect the speaker to do? Although the speaker doesn't have the power to switch off the mic, the speaker moves on to the other person, and the control room within the parliamentary rules and conventions has the authority to switch the mic from one individual to another. So if Rahul Gandhi believes that he can bulldoze his way in the parliament just because he's got 99 seats, which is also, by the way, 1/3 of what the BJP has got, then good luck to him. What he's done, Madhav, there are two Rahul Gandhis, by the way. Rahul Gandhi said, "Main do hu." Yes, there are two Rahul Gandhis. One is a pathological liar who lied on MSP, who lied on the compensation given to the kin of the deceased. No,
I'm coming to that. We have an entire...
And the second Rahul Gandhi is a disruptionist and an agent of chaos who exits people to make sure that parliamentary proceedings cannot go on. They used to talk about a healthy opposition, a healthy dialogue. You do not want a dialogue today. All you want to do is spread chaos, confusion, lies, and try to fish out your vote bank.
Okay, let me quickly bring in fact, Mr. Pankaj Vora on that. Pankaj Vora, as somebody who is a senior journalist, has observed Parliament for decades, the question that is being asked over here by the BJP is that, if you ask a question, if you want to put us on the mat, you ask for a reply, at least listen to it. The BJP is saying here is the Rahul Gandhi when he spoke. Of course, there was some amount of disruptions, but he was allowed to speak uninterrupted for about an hour and a half. We saw Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge speak for about 2 hours. But when it comes to the Prime Minister, there are instant chants and there's instant disruption. These are double standards is what the BJP is saying. How do you see it?
Well, it is very, very unfortunate that whatever is happening in Parliament, it is undermining the parliamentary system. It is undermining the very concept of democracy so far as our, system is concerned. It is an accepted fact that running the House is first and foremost the responsibility of the ruling dispensation. But it does not mean that the opposition can be irresponsible and can have its way. Having said this, this parliament session is being held in very changed circumstances. BJP was in power on its own during the last two times, and this time it is there with 63 seats less than what it had, got last in 2019. So BJP's, attitude also needs to be changed. It needs to be more accommodative, and it needs to have more consultations with the opposition when the parliament session begins. There are behind-the-scene activities which would take place earlier, which are not happening now. And, when the leader of opposition was speaking, there were disruptions. Even the Prime Minister, the Defence Minister and the Home Minister had, interjected. It is also unfortunate. And the Prime Minister is the leader of the House. He's the head of the government. He should be allowed to say whatever he is saying. And, people should listen to him attentively. And whether they agree with him or not. And so far as, accusations of lies being, said on the floor of the House is concerned, that is, again, I mean, if there are things, if there is another fact which you have, you should spell it instead of accusing anybody else. Correct. And there should be no distortion of neither the leader of the opposition nor of the Prime Minister when the House is in session. Absolutely. That is foremost. That is how, I see.
But, I want to come back to you on one interesting thing that you said, that the circumstances are very different and very changed now in terms of the behind-the-scenes activities. Are you essentially saying there's now a line of communication between the opposition and Treasury benches, or is it something else?
Unfortunately, it is not. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is not. It should happen.
Okay.
It should happen. BJP is short of 63 seats. Earlier, when the Prime Minister would speak, there would be chants like a rock star, Modi, Modi, Jai Shri Ram. These did not take place this time. Right. It is a changed environment. And otherwise also, even if the environment had not changed, The opposition should always be brought on board.
Okay.
And when the government provokes, the opposition.
I want
once
Mr.
again,
Mishra to come on
Shazia,
one point. I want Mr. Mishra to come on this point. Let me just come in. Mr. Mishra, while the opposition, of course, may have perhaps not followed the rules to the T in terms of the past precedent, at the end of the day, he also makes the important point that the government also has a role to play in the running of the House. And whether it is reaching out to the opposition, something that perhaps did not have relevance given the fact that the government had a brute majority, this time round with the new numbers that are before us, perhaps it would be prudent for the government to also reach out and accommodate what opposition wants. Your response?
You know, several times the Prime Minister of India has appealed to the opposition, please play positive opposition parties' role, play constructive role in the democratic process of parliamentary democracy. If they expect that we should just bend low, we should just bow to them, this is not fair. You know, every time if you make fake allegation against of the government or the speaker, you demean the chair of the speaker by putting allegation that mic of Rahul Gandhi is just switched off. What is the reality? Since long ago, the mind of Rahul Gandhi is switched off. It's not mic. He was allowed 90 minutes to speak. He was allowed to shout. He was allowed to provoke, and he did continuously. Every member of the opposition forces, except Samajwadi Party, they started shouting when the Prime Minister was replying. Because why this is so? Rahul Gandhi is unable to digest that the nation has rejected him 3 times. This is the case. So he will take time to understand. Now he is in leader of opposition. He will have to be mature. What Prime Minister has labelled him as a Bal Buddhi because he is a senior member of the parliament. So it is fair to say him. But you know, it was not the intent of the Congress party to run this session, to participate positively in this session, because they started saying, no, let's discuss NEET first. And a speaker appealed to them, you can raise NEET issue while you were addressing to the president address. They agreed to that. What our suggestion is that still there is a hope in democracy, play positive role in the parliamentary function.
Okay. You know, Tehseen, just look at these pictures that are there before us. This is, of course, the Raj Sabha. In a few moments, we'll see the Lok Sabha. The Prime Minister starts speaking and you immediately enter the well of the House. Now, if there's something objectionable that the Prime Minister has said, like Mr. Rahul Gandhi said something that BJP didn't agree with, and the Treasury benches then objected to it. But from the word go, when you start objecting, you know, it means that there is some kind of pre-planned mindset as far as what, the Congress party and Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants to do. And you cannot have that happening inside a House if you're coming in the spirit of true dialogue and debate.
That's true. But like I said, and let me go back to Friday. The mics were switched off of Rahul Gandhi, the leader of... Look, you're the speaker here. I ask for your protection.
Okay. Make your point.
This is exactly the heckling that happens in Parliament.
One more.
This is exactly what happened to Rahul Gandhi. Exactly what happened to Rahul Gandhi.
Both sides do it.
Both sides are guilty of that. I would like you to rewind your tape and let your viewers see. Did it happen? The minute we make a point, there's heckling. I come to you for protection. I beg of you for protection. You are not Om Birla.
Completely in the spirit of protection.
You are not Om Birla.
On a lighter note, now you know how the Prime Minister must have felt.
No, I know how Rahul Gandhi felt. Because I'll tell you what happened to the Prime Minister. We've seen several, and I want to quote from Times of India. 31st August 2013, the then Prime Minister of India tells Sushma Swaraj, have you ever seen any other democracy where the opposition comes into the well and shouts, Mera Pradhan Mantri chor hai? This is what they did. आज ये यहाँ पर आपके Times Now पे आपको ये lecture दे रहे, ये इन्होंने किया. But let's not go into the past. Let's talk about today. Friday, again the heckling, I ask for protection. I don't mean my point. Friday, what happened? Rahul Gandhi's mic switched off. Now we come to Monday. On Friday, what did Om Birla say? Again, I was watching it live on Times Now. Om Birla ji promised sitting on that chair, we will have a separate discussion for NEET. Okay. Was it brought on the agenda? It wasn't. Sir is right. Why don't you bring it on the agenda? Was Lok Sabha, why should have Parliament be adjourned, sine die? 24 lakh students. You could have discussed it. Whether he brought it up in the President's address or no, there was a separate discussion agreed to. It wasn't brought up in the business of the House. Why was it not brought up in a separate agenda? 24 lakhs. No, once again. You use words like juvenile, gravitas, lack substance for Rahul Gandhi. Borrowing Sholay dialogues is gravitas. Giving water, that's gravitas. Look, what was
giving
the prime
water?
Again, I beg for your protection. Calling the opposition leader Bal Buddhi. You can fault Rahul Gandhi for everything.
To giving water,
please. You can fault Rahul Gandhi. You can fault Rahul Gandhi for anything. Did Rahul Gandhi make personal comments on the Prime Minister? You're calling him Bal Buddhi. You're calling names to the opposition. Who started this juvenile behavior? Is this how the Prime Minister of the greatest country in the world behaves? That you call opposition leader Balbudi? Would Justin Trudeau call his opposition leader? Would Joe Biden call? What is going on in the House? Is this the kind of language to be used by the Prime Minister in the House?
Okay. Got your point.
Got your point. Prime Minister
okay. Language used by BJP, by Prime Minister is not acceptable. Words such as Balbudi are personal. They're below the belt, he says.
First of all, a lot of lies were spoken, which I must bust, because it's exactly on the basis of the lies that they've managed to get 99 seats, which is 18% of the entire seats. I must remind Tehseen. And Tehseen,
37%.
Now you're heckling. Now you're heckling. Now one by one. Yeah, Sazia. Sazia is the only lady on the panel. Let her speak.
No, neither I or Prime Minister need any protection. Maybe Tehseen does from himself and from the LOP, because he has to defend the most indefensible, juvenile, inane, incoherent, unparliamentary language. So a lie was said that constitution will be changed. Prime Minister spoke about it a number of times. So संविधान के हत्यारे, संविधान की अपमान जो हुई नहीं है, जो सोच रहे हुई है, वो कर रहे थे. Second and most importantly, on the issue of EVM, finally people know that it was true. So now, and the EC. Now on the issue of mics, let's come to a settlement, because this lie can't go on. And I challenge not just Tehseen but the entire party to challenge and go to court on this matter, because this is extremely important. This is a blatant, silly lie.
The art of saying nothing.
You know, it's like you spit and you say, oh, and you run away, like kids do.
The problem is that when it comes to Parliament, nothing that happens on the Senate can be challenged by law.
Balak Buddhi was too kind.
Yeah, okay.
And that is the decency and integrity of the
was
Prime
it decent?
Minister.
Was it indecent? Let's quickly bring on screen what we're talking about in terms of the fact check. The fact check, and Rahul Gandhi lied, is the allegation coming in from the side of the BJP. Can you quickly bring on screen those graphics, please? And this is the charge that is coming in. Now, this is the first one as far as Agniveer is concerned. Rahul's charge is that families of Agniveer is not compensated. The fact check coming from the government side is that insurance cover of 48 lakh was provided. Can we bring the next plate, please, on this? And they also say that a one-time ex gratia of 44 lakh rupees was given. There is some amount that is yet to be processed as well, says the government. Rahul's charge is that in the Ayodhya airport, it was built by snatching the land of locals. The fact check coming from the side of the UP government is that compensation of 952.39 crore rupees was provided. There's also, of course, the charge that residents never receive compensation. The fact given by the UP government is that 21,548 people were compensated in Ayodhya when it comes to the airport itself. Now, going on to Manipur, Rahul's charge is that Home Minister has not gone to Manipur. The fact check from the government side is that Home Minister Shah spent 4 days in Manipur in May 2023. And let's go on to the next point of MSP. Rahul says, the Modi government says, farmers will not get MSP. The fact is that the MSP fixed for the 22 mandated agricultural crops has been given. Now, when it comes to the ED action, Rahul says there are 20 plus cases against me. My house was taken away. The government says that Rahul was disqualified as MP for conviction in a defamation case, and that has nothing to do with the ED case. He says there were 54 hours of ED interrogation, and that was, of course, in a separate case. He gave up the MP's bungalow due to the court sentence, and not ED's, what the side of the government is. Let's quickly, in fact, come into this particular debate as well. And if I can bring in Vivek Sailas. Vivek Sailas, on facts, Rahul Gandhi is short. Whether it's Agniveer, whether it's MSP, whether it is Ayodhya airport, that's what the BJP is saying. Your response?
As far as Ayodhya is concerned, we have seen the wall falling of the airport. Haven't we seen it? The videos are
what is that
definitely
compensation? No, the issue here is compensation.
Yes.
Airport also, that was 2009 and nothing to do with the Prime Minister.
Okay. I'm talking about Ayodhya airport.
Yeah, Ayodhya
what are you saying?
Ayodhya airport, yes.
Okay.
You know, the people of Ayodhya have proved. That is why they have given the mandate to the Samajwadi Party, and we have won Ayodhya. No, that is not talked about. That is not only talked about in India.
Yeah.
It is talked about internationally.
You can count
somewhere down the line. Somewhere down the line. It is also fake that the Samajwadi Party has not won Ayodhya.
Yeah, you won Faizabad. You have won
now
Faizabad.
Ayodhya has become Faizabad.
Ayodhya Vidhan Sabha they have not won. Ayodhya Vidhan Sabha they have not won.
Lok Sabha. We had a Lok Sabha election.
Correct on this. I agree.
Okay, you can counter him. Let him make his point. Yeah.
We have seen land scams in Ayodhya. Haven't we seen land scams in Ayodhya?
What is that?
That was under the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Let's come to the Ayodhya airport. The compensation that was not given is what Rahul Gandhi says. The government has countered, given the amount, given the number of people who are given compensation, and we have also spoken to several of them. There are sound bites available of people who have received compensation. So was Mr. Rahul Gandhi short on facts, Mr. Sailas?
Maybe the government, whatever they are saying is fine. No problem at all. They must have given.
Then why say it?
No.
Why say it in Parliament?
No. But the thing is, whatever happened in Ayodhya, the government is talking about compensation. Maybe the entire lot didn't receive the compensation. Huh? No?
The compensation is inadequate, and in fact, not just the airport, other places also people didn't get compensation. Current respond to that.
माधव संगति का भी असर होता है. सिर्फ राहुल गांधी नहीं फैक्चुअली इनकरेक्ट थे. विवेक जी के जो नेता हैं, अखिलेश जी, जो कह रहे थे महफिल लूट ली आपने पासी जी से, उन्होंने कहा, और नितिन गडकरी वाज वेरी डिसेंट इनफ नॉट टू इंटरप्ट हिम एट दैट टाइम. ही सेड आपने यूपी को एक भी एक्सप्रेसवे नहीं दिया. यूपी को 7 एक्सप्रेसवे दिया. मैं सारे गिना रहा हूं आपको. अंबाला शामली एक्सप्रेसवे, दिल्ली मेरठ एक्सप्रेसवे. एक सेकेंड, अब देखिए ये आप देखिए कौन इंटरप्ट कर रहा है.
One second. Vivek, you can respond. See, I didn't allow him to interrupt you. Be fair, Vivek. No, you have not been interrupted by him. I've stopped him when he interrupted you, and therefore I'm requesting you, please let him speak. Let him make his point.
अंबाला शामली एक्सप्रेसवे, दिल्ली मेरठ एक्सप्रेसवे, दिल्ली देहरादून एक्सप्रेसवे, ईस्टर्न पेरिफेरल एक्सप्रेसवे, गोरखपुर सिलगुरी एक्सप्रेसवे, वाराणसी कोलकाता एक्सप्रेसवे, लखनऊ कानपुर एक्सप्रेसवे, प्रयागराज बाईपास एक्सप्रेसवे. इतने एक्सप्रेसवे दिए हैं, और उसके बाद ये झूठ बोल रहे हैं खड़े होकर अखिलेश जी. आज तक एक एक्सप्रेसवे नहीं दिया. एंड नितिन गडकरी, देखिए, दिस इज बीजेपी डिसेंसी.
Okay, one by one.
माधव, दिस इज बीजेपी एंड मिस्टर नितिन गडकरी डिसेंसी. वो उन्होंने सोचा मैं 1 मिनट खड़ा हूं, फिर उन्होंने कहा चलो इनको बोलने दो. बट दिस लाइज कैनॉट गो, एंड द प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज अ पॉलिटिकल एनिमल. He will give you back in the same coin that you gave him. He extended an olive branch. He allowed Rahul Gandhi and Khadge ji to make all the points. Timely interventions, that's about it. But then, what did you do? हमने आपकी हवा गुल कर दी. 1/3 प्राइम मिनिस्टर, तहसीन was talking about decency, 1/3 प्राइम मिनिस्टर हवा गुल कर दी, महफिल लूट ली. Do you think these are the words befitting for Rahul Gandhi? And then he lies about MSP. You've covered all the laundry of lies. He tried to provoke the youth of this country, and he talks about NEET. Barely 4%, 4 or 5%. It's come as a calculation, I think in Times Now only did. Was the time that the opposition gave to an important issue like NEET.
Okay.
This is the reality.
Okay, Vivek wants to counter it. Tehseen also. One second, one by one. Vivek first, because you have some specific points to counter him. Yes.
He is talking about Varanasi Kolkata Expressway. Is it in Uttar Pradesh? If we go from Varanasi to Kolkata, we have to cross Jharkhand, you have to cross Bihar, then you reach Kolkata. It's not the expressway. The expressway in Uttar Pradesh, I can say. The whole
purpose of expressway is connecting the state to other places.
The internal expressway of India in Uttar Pradesh, you can say, is the Noida-Agra Expressway, Agra-Lucknow Expressway,
One second, sir.
the Purvanchal Expressway.
Sir, where is Varanasi? One second, where is Varanasi?
Varanasi in UP?
Yeah, so then...
Varanasi is at the edge of Uttar Pradesh. They don't know that. It's at the edge of Uttar Pradesh.
So it's for the people of Varanasi.
We have seen corruption.
Is it not for the people of Varanasi?
Madhav, please. We have seen corruption in expressways. We have seen corruption in Purvanchal Expressway. We have seen Bundelkhand Expressway just sinking down. Haven't we seen that?
Okay,
even you have shown that. What are you talking?
First, I could not
We have the Ganga Expressway from Meerut to Allahabad. When it is going to be completed?
Okay.
They said it will be completed in 2024. When it is going to be completed? Please tell me.
Okay. Yes, Tehseen.
Just 2 points. You refer to those visuals and showed, so did Karan refer to these visuals of Rahul Gandhi encouraging the MPs to shout. You know, the MP who Gaurav actually pulled down was the Manipur MP who was asked a time to speak and was not allotted a time. This is very serious issue.
He spoke on Monday night?
No, that was the other MP. There are two. There are 2 MPs.
Okay, they are saying the inner Manipur. Yeah.
Second thing, Karan rightly said on NEET, they spoke 4 to 5%. He's actually right on that because the speaker promised a separate discussion which was not allowed in the business of the House. Now, I just want to end with one last point. Look, very kind of you, Shazia, to offer to take me to the hospital. Actually, really kind of you. She's used to take. Thank you. Thank you. She's used to taking her colleagues to the vet, so she offered this to me. But the fact of the matter is, our parliamentary democracy.
I'm worried about you,
Teseen. You make the vet visits with your colleagues, so continue there. But the fact is, our parliamentary democracy is unfortunately being broken by the BJP, and a band-aid won't fix it. What will fix it is for the Prime Minister to reach out. I repeat my statement. It is the House belongs to the opposition. It is for the government to run it. Opposition will make accusations. You can't call them lies. Accusations will be made. The government is to rebut it. To call the leader of opposition or others Bal Buddhi, Jhootha is not parliamentary democracy. Then by that logic, the BJP raised 2G. It isn't thrown out. Was Arun Jaitley ji
I think that's a fair point. Okay, that's a fair point. No, one second. That's a fair point. One second. Shazia, one second. I want to bring it.
Has Arun Jaitley ever resorted to this?
I read out Manmohan Singh's statement.
There are a number of
during the motion of
over scams.
I did read it.
One by one.
Be it Volker, be it Scorpion, be it 2G.
Not during the motion of thanks.
Not during the motion. Presidential and vote of thanks.
Okay.
I mean,
Karan, please. Mr. Mishra.
Please don't quote Arun Jaitley. He's no more with us, and he was a decent member of parliament. He was never in the Lok Sabha. He was all the time he was a member of the Rajya Sabha. Even Sushma Swaraj never disrupted the house like Rahul Gandhi provoked his own colleague to disrupt the house, go into well and shout like a monkey and CR type of thing. That was really, Congress party must learn, behave and decency. If the Prime Minister called him,
let's keep it fair,
labeled him as a Bal Buddhi, Prime Minister is so senior to him, he can label him as a Bal. There is no doubt about that. And must learn, Rahul Gandhi must learn the behavior of other member of parliament. So, this time their intention was not to run the parliament. If their intention would have run the parliament, they would have cooperated in that. Even the Khadge absconded from the Rajya Sabha while the Prime Minister was about to speak. Such kind of situation is not fruitful and helping our democracy. They are claiming they are democratic. They are claiming they are savior of the constitution, but they are killing the very idea of the constitutionalism.
Okay. Now, is there a comparison to be drawn here? Because I think this is a very serious point which Pankaj Vora, you can weigh in on. Because here you have the opposition which repeatedly quotes Arun Jaitley, Sushma Swaraj when it comes to disruption. They are saying, of course, don't quote Mr. Arun Jaitley, which I think perhaps is not correct because end of the day, it's about double yardsticks being used. End of the day, the larger question over here is this, that is there any difference in the manner in which the BJP was protesting when the UPA government was there and the opposition is protesting today when the NDA 3 or the Modi 3.0 government is there? As an observer of parliament, what do you see?
Yes, there's a lot of difference. The thing is that times have changed. It's a different era. There was more sanctity attached to the parliament when the UPA was in power and even during when Mr. Vajpayee was in power. Now it is more of a, animosity which is on display rather than adversarial, conduct. So that is the difference. And, I said at the very outset, the dignity and the sanctity of parliament should never be compromised. Now, you pointed out that presuming Rahul Gandhi said all those lies, they should be rebutted on the floor of the house, not outside.
And they were. Each one of them were.
Okay, let him speak. Okay, let him make
the thing is that, there has been a tendency during the last few years that, a lot of statements when parliament is on are made outside the house, which, is not correct because it is against the conventions, it is against the traditions. So if Rahul Gandhi is seen to be saying something wrong, he should be pulled up and rebutted, and a rebuttal should take place. Rebuttal should take place then and there. Yeah. And secondly, the thing is that it is also very unfortunate that, the presiding officers of both the houses chose to expunge marks. It is an infringement on the freedom of speech. The thing is that there is, every member has a right to say whatever he wishes to, as long as it is not unparliamentary. And, if somebody has made a point, and if it has been rebutted, it will be all on record. So there is no fear from what allegations have been made.
Correct.
And it is right that opposition will always make allegations, and it is the onus of, setting records straight.
Okay. So here's the question to you, Shazia, because end of the day, here's the question. Listen, I'm on the same point. I'm asking you a simple question because, he says don't quote Mr. Arun Jaitley, but that yardstick, the BJP has quoted what happened in 70s during emergency, the 50s, 60s, etc. Simple question. I'm just quoting what Mr. Jaitley has said. He has said on the controversy relating to the coal scam or the allocation of coal blocks. He says by disrupting parliament, we have given out a message to the country. What's different between then and now? Sazia.
So, are there scams that we're talking about? Are there coal scams? Every department of UPA was totally embroiled in a scam. There was Anna Hazare movement. Arvind Kejriwal became the face of it. Now he's part of that alliance. Because of, and the entire country came to Ramleela ground or was a spectator in some way and a stakeholder in it because of the rampant, blatant corruption of UPA, which is exactly what our leaders protested against. But I want to just clarify a few things. On the floor of the House, on each of the lies, Rahul Gandhi was countered, and on the floor of the House, Shivraj Singh spoke about MSP. On the floor of the House, Rajnath Singh talked about Agniveer and the compensation and martyrdom, that they are Shaheeds and they've been given, because of which Rahul felt a tad embarrassed. But the Balak Buddhi he is, he could not bring seriousness.
Okay.
Yes, he is a Balak Buddhi, and that's a very polite thing to say about him.
Okay, it's parliamentary language.
It's
parliamentary language, but
a kind thing.
But the big
what he
takeaway
did was far worse. No, let me finish. So whether all these issues, and when they came to asking about NEET, and when Prime Minister was answering, they refused to be a part of it. And when earlier they asked for time on NEET, do you know something? They don't even know this much about parliamentary procedures, that the Prime Minister would have had to answer on NEET, and even Dharmendra Pradhan.
Okay.
They could have used this time. And that's not all. The marks were exchanged because there is something in the parliament and called a rule book. And he flouted the rule book 12 times. Yes. Mr. Vora would know more about the rule book, and it remains the same during every party.
There are 4 points you made. Once again, Shazia made a number of points. I want to bring him on. I want to bring him on 2 points.
This is very important.
You made 4 points.
No, allow me to finish.
No, Shazia, you have made a lot of points. Let's get a debate. If everyone does this, Shazia, then I won't be able to conduct this. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. I'm going to ask him the points that you have made. I'm asking the points. Number one, Tehseen, there are the scams that existed, whether it's ISRO Deva scam, whether it's 2G scam, whether it's CWG scam, whether it's coal block scam. All of those scams existed at that point of time, and therefore it was important and incumbent on the opposition to put the government on the mat. That's not the case, is her contention. Respond to that first point.
So this is the first point. For all the scams that or alleged scams that they raised, while they've been in government for 10 years, they've got as many convictions as the Prime Minister's press conferences, 0. Which means they were not true, including on Bofors that BJP keeps referring to. They've got 0 conviction, lost in 4 international courts. So if you've got 0 conviction, then by that logic, they were lying in parliament and it should be expunged. I go back to what Vora Ji said. Please understand, the opposition will raise issues. If the government has an answer, it must give answers. By expunging, even the answers are being expunged. Please let the opposition raise issues, even if they are not true. Let the government reply. Let it be for the people of the country to see. When you expunge it, the people of the country don't get. Parliament is a place where you have no fear of defamation, where you can speak absolutely freely within the parliamentary maryada. Calling somebody ke main aapko hara duga is parliamentary democracy. Calling somebody the language that the honorable Prime Minister is not maryada. So within that, you speak anything in parliament, you have protection to speak. Parliament gives you that protection. Even courts can't intervene. Why would you expunge something in parliament?
No, because there are parliamentary expressions, and there are expressions which are allowed and which are not allowed. That's a very set procedure, Tehseen. But the point, okay, but I'll take up. The question that you should have been asking, I will ask Shazia. Shazia, the point made by Rahul Gandhi is that Anurag Thakur also violated the parliamentary procedure and the language. His words were not expunged, but my words were expunged, is what Rahul says. Please respond to that.
No, there are many leaders whose comments have been expunged because they violate the rule book. And there were 6 of them, and I'll tell you, they're from BJP. And as far as Rahul Gandhi is concerned, he took out pictures again and again. You're not allowed to show pictures in the parliament. It's so sad that 6 times this Balak Buddhi has been there forever. 6 times around. And he doesn't know the rule book. He doesn't know. You can't keep saying that Bhagwan Shiv ne kaha hai ki tumhari constitutional post hai. I mean, you can't make a fool of yourself to such a degree.
Pankaj Gora,
for yourself, if not the house.
Two points over here. One is that posters are technically not allowed. That rule has been violated. But, religious posters being allowed or being, shown as part of a political debate, which is what Rahul Gandhi was engaging. How correct is that is a question that has been asked by the BJP. And also, the important point that she made, that when you ask or you're listening to the Prime Minister's speech, there is an option of seeking clarification. There are parliamentary procedures which the opposition did not utilize. And that was an opportunity that they could have utilized. Your response on those 2 points?
Of course, opposition should use all the instruments and tools available to it to, make its point. And, display of pictures is, of course, against the parliamentary rules again. But having said that, you know, even when slogans would be shouted, you know, whether it is in praise of the Prime Minister or in praise of Lord Rama, that is also not allowed in Parliament. You know, that is our personal faith. Now, the thing is that these posters have been shown or have been brought into picture. There is a context to it. When Rahul Gandhi had accused the BJP of appropriating Hinduism and saying that, you know, Hinduism does not teach a person to be hateful, you know, the BJP tried to give the narrative that he's speaking against Hindus, which he repeatedly clarified that he was speaking against the BJP and the RSS and not against the Hindus.
Okay.
So in order to, you know, perhaps reinforce that, you know, those posters which were not authorized, you know, as per rules, were, you know, perhaps put on display for people to, you know, counter that. You know, these kind of tactics are being used both by the treasury benches and the opposition. Another thing is that, you know, when Shivraj Singh Chauhan rebutted or when Rajnath Singh rebutted, you know, it is, I mean, they should also explain why is the Kisan agitation still going on? Why are they not explaining why is the opposition to Agniveer still going on in states, you know, whether it is Himachal, Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and so on and so forth. So these things need to be also addressed in Parliament itself.
Okay.
You know, I'm not for or against anybody. I'm just trying to...
Okay. I want Karan to respond to that because there are a number of points. Let Karan respond.
They talk about raising constructive issues. Leave aside what I am saying, Sazia Singh or anyone is saying. Supriya Srinath, their head of communications, she's put out a tweet. प्रधानमंत्री को हेडफोन लगाना पड़ गया आज विपक्ष की शक्ति देख के मतलब इनकी शक्ति ही ये है दिस इज एन ऑफिशियल ट्वीट फ्रॉम सुप्रिया श्रीनाथ शेयर्ड बाय द आईएनसी कि हमारी शक्ति है हम इतना शोर मचाएंगे दैट यू कैन नॉट पॉसिबली स्टे देयर विदाउट अ हेडफोन
ओके
इतनी सी सैलरी में घर की ईएमआई कैसे भरूंगी? काश तुमने जाने से पहले टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लिया होता।
पॉलिसी बाजार पे 1 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 470 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता, उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कर आता है। आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
हमने जब भी तुम्हारे लिए कुछ चुना पूरे दिल से चुना पर आज कॉलेज चुनना है और ये काम वो करेगा जिस पे हमें भरोसा है कॉलेज देखो बनाएंगे इंडिया का कल
टाटा एसी फ्री टच के साथ अब बिजनेस को करो कंट्रोल तो ले आओ टाटा एसी आज अब रनिंग कॉस्ट केवल ₹1 प्रति किलोमीटर ईएमआई 16,000 से शुरू
This debate is so important. It's important for all the taxpayers, all the citizens of the country. And our next set of graphics will tell you exactly why it's so important. Because it's important as citizens to take a track record of what Parliament is. Let's quickly get those graphics up on your screen in terms of what really has transpired in Parliament. Let's quickly bring that up in terms of the performance, how the disruptions are affecting US citizens. 2.5 lakhs per minute. By the way, Tehseen, this was Pawan Kumar Bansal in 2012 who gave that figure of 2.5 lakhs per minute. 12 years hence, that figure would be considerably higher. That is the cost of running Parliament as per the 2012 figures. 6 hours is the number of hours per session and 9 crores were the cost per day. That was estimated at that point of time. These are 2012 figures. Let's quickly bring in the next... Let's quickly bring in the next set of graphics, in fact, that we're talking about in terms of parliamentary performance. Now, this is what we are looking at as far as the 2016 winter session is concerned. The Lok Sabha functioned 15% of the time, lost 107 hours. The functioning was of Rajya Sabha at 18%, and this was a loss of 101 hours. Let's quickly bring in the next session that we're talking about. The 2021 monsoon session functioned 21% of the time, lost 77 hours. 29% of the time, the Rajya Sabha functioned and lost 76 hours. Let's look at the next set of graphics that we're talking about. This is the Lok Sabha in the 2023 budget session. Functioned 33% of the time, lost 96 hours. Functioned 24% of the time, lost 103 hours is the Rajya Sabha numbers that we're talking about. Now, at the end of the day, Vivek Salas, as citizens, we expect our members of parliament to function. Yes, towards the end of the government, there may be misgovernance issues, there may be scams, etc., that you talk about. And even, for instance, 2009 to 2014, it was the last few years that we saw a lot of disruptions. That is understandable. What's not understandable is whether this is going to actually happen from the beginning of this particular Lok Sabha, because then it appears that the functions of parliament, which are to debate issues, which are to pass legislations, all of that is being bypassed.
No, definitely the parliament has to function for the benefit of the people of the country, and that is what we are here for. But as far as being a responsible opposition, if the government is not working properly, or if they are not taking the issues of the people very seriously of the country, because the Bharatiya Janata Party has given the mandate to the NDA, the people of India have given the mandate to the NDA, so they have to function. And if they are not functioning well, if we feel that something is going wrong, if we feel that the government is out of track, then we have to ask questions to the government.
Okay.
Definitely, why not?
But there's a manner of asking those questions. The problem is violating procedure. I want Mr. Mishra to come. Mr. Mishra.
ये question है
Let Mr.
का question ये
Satya Prakash Mishra.
The way he talked, hey, बैठ जाओ. This is not the way to talk to the opposition.
An entire community as a violent, somebody has to object. The intention is very clear: to defame the government, to demean the government, to disrupt the parliamentary process, and to just shout. So why this is so? Again, I would say Rahul Gandhi's mind has been switched off. He has been rejected thrice by the people of India. He is unable to digest such situation. So I must say he should revisit to the constitutionalism and the constitutional process. He just not holding the constitution in the parliament. He just read it carefully, learn something from it. Just denounce his word Bal Buddhi. He should be a mature Buddhi. We expect from him.
Okay.
We have expectation from him.
One by one. Quickly.
The opposition is saying that the Honorable Prime Minister or ministers only intervened on point of intervention when they thought something was factually not wrong, and they allowed Rahul Gandhi and Kharge ji to speak. Except when Kharge ji wanted to intervene on a point of intervention on the RSS relationship on the constitution, he was not given the same right. The same Vice President, Chairperson of Rajya Sabha, I'm just going to Rajya Sabha and saying when they walked out there, told Kharge ji, and I'm quoting him, that you're not capable of being LOP Jairam Ramesh should become. Who is he to decide? Because Kharge ji comes from a particular community, a particular caste to speak.
Okay, I'm not going to get into the...
How dare the Vice President...
Okay, that's the contention. That's the contention of Mr. Kharge.
How dare he speak like that?
Okay.
Would he speak like that about anybody else?
Okay. There are many... There's many a controversy that we've seen in the Rajya Sabha, and Tehseen is also smiling when he says that, but yes, Karan.
Individuals are saying that Rahul Gandhi is Balak Buddhi. I'm not saying that. I think he's devious. This is his devious misinterpretation. जब से इन्हें थोड़ी सी power मिली, spreading that lie in UP that they are going to change the constitution, they are going to finish reservation, तब से they've resorted to lies as a mainstream tool. They are going to lie about MSP, lie about Agniveer, just as Tehseen right now said, that he was hitting on Kharge ji's caste. So they are wanting to spread lies and mainstream lies as their tool for political
But Mr. Dhankar, to be fair, has been one of the chairpersons who often spars with opposition.
We need someone assertive to be there.
No, that's fine.
You can't disrupt.
Is there a fair point when opposition says that, the chairperson in Rajya Sabha is not being fair to us? The government says that they have also not been fair to him. They've mocked his disability, etc., is what Karan is saying. Quick comment from you.
The conduct of both the presiding officers has been under scrutiny, and it has been debated in various channels. It has been debated in the media. It has been debated in academic circles. Mr. Dhankar, for instance, I don't wish to say anything personally against him, but as the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, should be more discreet and should allow people to speak rather than speaking himself and making wisecracks. This is something which no other chairperson in the past has ever done. So it is a first. And it is not that it is once in a while. It is a constant kind of a thing. Similarly, you had said that if the beginning of the parliament has been like this, the thing is that there were questions raised on Mr. Om Birla's neutrality, and Mr. Om Birla had in the last session suspended almost 150 MPs, and when though it is a prerogative of the ruling party to decide whoever is the speaker, but when you decided to have him as the speaker, it was a provocation that it will continue in the same manner as it was continuing in the last session. So the opposition it was a red rag being shown for no rhyme or reason.
But isn't every speaker controversial like that? You'll have Meera Kumar questioned, you'll have Sumitra Mahajan questioned, all the past speakers, there would be questions raised.
It is like this, the Speaker's office, on certain issues they get questioned, but not all the time.
Okay.
Mr. Shivraj Patil was the Speaker, and, Mr. L.K. Advani was the leader of the opposition, and Kaul and Shankadhar is considered to be the Bible of running parliament on parliamentary procedures and this. On contentious issues, Shivraj Patil would consult, L.K. Advani. That was the kind of accommodative politics.
Okay. It's been a very heated debate, but at the end of the day, let's remember that there are issues that the opposition has raised, that even certain members of the ruling alliance, like JDU, for instance, Agniveer and NEET have been raised. That is the ultimate cause of parliament. It is a forum for debate, it is a forum for discussion. Can we allow, and as citizens and voters, should we allow this kind of disruption to continuously take place? It's certainly a question on everyone's minds. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us. Vivek Sailas, Tehseen Poonawalla, we have Pankaj Vora, Sazia Ilmi, Karan Verma, as well as Satyaprakash Mishra. Thanks so much for joining us on the National Debate this week. This debate is so important. It's important for all the taxpayers, all the citizens of the country. And our next set of graphics will tell you exactly why it's so important, because it's important as citizens to take a track record of what Parliament is. Let's quickly get those graphics up on your screen in terms of what really has transpired in Parliament. Let's quickly bring that up in terms of the performance, how the disruptions are affecting US citizens. 2.5 lakhs per minute. By the way, Tehseen, this was Pawan Kumar Bansal in 2012 who gave that figure of 2.5 lakhs per minute. 12 years hence, that figure would be considerably higher. That is the cost of running Parliament as per the 2012 figures. 6 hours is the number of hours per session, and 9 crores were the cost per day. That was estimated at that point of time. These are 2012 figures. Let's quickly bring in the next set of graphics, in fact, that we're talking about in terms of parliamentary performance. Now, this is what we are looking at as far as the 2016 winter session is concerned. The Lok Sabha functioned 15% of the time, lost 107 hours. The functioning was of Raj Sabha at 18%, and this was a loss of 101 hours. Let's quickly bring in the next session that we're talking about. The 2021 monsoon session functioned 21% of the time, lost 77 hours. 29% of the time, the Raj Sabha functioned and lost 76 hours. Let's look at the next set of graphics that we're talking about. This is the Lok Sabha in the 2023 budget session. Functioned 33% of the time, lost 96 hours. Functioned 24% of the time, lost 103 hours is the Rajya Sabha numbers that we're talking about. Now, at the end of the day, Vivek Sailas, as citizens, we expect our members of parliament to function. Yes, towards the end of the government, there may be misgovernance issues, there may be scams, etc., that you talk about. And even, for instance, 2009 to 2014, it was the last few years that we saw a lot of disruptions. That is understandable. What's not understandable is whether this is going to actually happen from the beginning of this particular Lok Sabha, because then it appears that the functions of parliament, which are to debate issues, which are to pass legislations, all of that is being bypassed.
No, definitely the parliament has to function for the benefit of the people of the country, and that is what we are here for. But as far as being a responsible opposition, if the government is not working properly, or if they are not taking the issues of the people very seriously of the country, because the Bharatiya Janata Party has given the mandate to the NDA. The people of India have given the mandate to the NDA, so they have to function. And if they are not functioning well, if we feel that something is going wrong, if we feel that the government is out of track, then we have to ask questions to the government.
Okay.
Definitely, why not?
But there's a manner of asking those questions. The problem is violating procedure. I want Mr. Mishra to come in. Mr. Mishra.
ये question है.
Let Mr.
का question here.
Satyaprakash Mishra.
The way he talked, hey, बैठ जाओ. This is not the way to talk to the opposition.
An entire community as a violent, somebody has to object. The intention is very clear: to defame the government, to demean the government, to disrupt the parliamentary process, and to just shout. So why this is so? Again, I would say Rahul Gandhi's mind has been switched off. He has been rejected thrice by the people of India. He is unable to digest such situation. So I must say he should revisit to the constitutionalism and the constitutional process. He just not holding the constitution in the parliament. He just read it carefully, learn something from it. Just denounce his word Bal Buddhi. He should be a mature Buddhi. We expect from him.
Okay.
We have expectation from
Yeah, one by one. Quickly, one by
The
one.
opposition is saying that the Honorable Prime Minister or ministers only intervened on point of intervention when they thought something was factually not wrong, and they allowed Rahul Gandhi and Kharge ji to speak. Except when Kharge ji wanted to intervene on a point of intervention on the RSS relationship on the constitution, he was not given the same right. The same Vice President, Chairperson of Rajya Sabha, I'm just going to Rajya Sabha and saying when they walked out there, told Kharge ji, and I'm quoting him, that you're not capable of being LOP Jairam Ramesh should become. Who is he to decide? Because Kharge ji comes from a particular community, a particular caste to speak.
Okay, I'm not going to get into the...
How dare the Vice President...
Okay, that's the contention. That's the contention of Mr. Kharge.
How dare he speak like that?
Okay.
Would he speak like that about anybody else?
Okay. There are many... There's many a controversy that we've seen in the Rajya Sabha, and Tehseen is also smiling when he says that, but yes, Karan.
Individuals are saying that Rahul Gandhi is Balak Buddhi. I'm not saying that. I think he's devious. This is his devious misinterpretation. जब से इन्हें थोड़ी सी power मिली, spreading that lie in UP that they are going to change the constitution, they are going to finish reservation, तब से they've resorted to lies as a mainstream tool. They are going to lie about MSP, lie about Agniveer, just as Tehseen right now said, that he was hitting on Kharge ji's caste. So they are wanting to spread lies and mainstream lies as their tool for political
But Mr. Dhankar, to be fair, has been one of the, chairpersons who often spars with opposition.
You need someone assertive to be there.
No, that's fine.
You can't disrupt.
Is there a fair point when opposition says that, this chairperson in Rajya Sabha is not being fair to us? The government says that they have also not been fair to him. They've mocked his disability, etc., is what Karan is saying. Quick comment from you.
The conduct of both the presiding officers has been under scrutiny, and it has been debated in various channels. It has been debated in the media. It has been debated in academic circles. Mr. Dhankar, for instance, I don't wish to say anything personally against him, but as the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, should be more discreet and should allow people to speak rather than speaking himself and making wisecracks. This is something which no other chairperson in the past has ever done. So it is a first. And, it is not that it is once in a while. It is a constant kind of a thing. Similarly, you had said that if the beginning of the parliament has been like this, the thing is that, there were questions raised on Mr. Om Birla's neutrality. And Mr. Om Birla had, in the last session, suspended almost 150 MPs. And though it is the prerogative of the ruling party to decide whoever is the speaker, but when you decided to have him as the speaker, it was a provocation that, it will continue in the same manner as it was continuing in the last session. So the opposition, it was a red rag being shown for no rhyme or reason.
But isn't every speaker controversial like that? You'll have Meera Kumar questioned, you'll have Sumitra Mahajan questioned, all the past speakers, there would be questions raised.
It is like this. The speaker's office, on certain issues they get questioned, but not all the time.
Okay.
Mr. Shivraj Patil was the speaker, and Mr. L.K. Advani was the leader of the opposition, and Kaul and Shankadhar is considered to be the Bible of running parliament on parliamentary procedures and this. On contentious issues, Shivraj Patil would consult, L.K. Advani. That was the kind of accommodative politics.
Okay. It's been a very heated debate, but at the end of the day, let's remember that there are issues that the opposition has raised, that even certain members of the ruling alliance, the JDU, for instance, Agniveer and NEET have been raised. That is the ultimate cause of parliament. It is a forum for debate, it is a forum for discussion. Can we allow, and as citizens and voters, should we allow this kind of disruption to continuously take place? It's certainly a question on everyone's minds. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us. Vivek Sailas, Tehseen Poonawalla, we have Pankaj Vora, Sazia Ilmi, Karan Verma, as well as Satyaprakash Mishra. Thanks so much for joining us on the National Debate this week.